Well, we've heard Jalen Hurts has looked very good at Eagles training camp so far, but how good has he looked in person? We spoke to an Eagles insider to give us more details. Also, an update on Quez Watkins, Moro Ojomo getting his first sack of training camp, and Sidney Brown climbing up that depth chart. Training camp is in full swing. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome to the Thomas Mott Show on a Wednesday. We're going to get into all the Eagles training camp news, especially my interview with Dave Spadaro in just 1 second. First, though, we're giving away a brand new Kelly Green Eagles jersey tonight on our Wednesday Link Live. Myself and Josh Davis, the best live show on a Wednesday you could possibly watch. All the information, of course, later tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't be late. It's going to be a bunch of fun. We're going to get into that in just 1 second. First, though, let's start with Jalen Hurts. Now, we talked about Jalen Hurts' day-to-day performances so far at training camp, but while it's still early, he's been shredding the Eagles defense. And while people think that's a concern for the Eagles defense, I think it's good news for Jalen Hurts. It shows the continued progression we've been looking for. Nick Sirianni, he raved about Jalen Hurts as well. Listen to what he said, quote, "I sit in on meetings right now in the quarterback room. I feel like I'm not sitting in a position group meeting. I feel like I'm sitting in a coach's meeting. That's how smart about our offense that Jalen Hurts is," end quote. Now, I also did an interview earlier this morning, which will launch tomorrow on the channel, with Eagles Insider Dave Spadaro. I asked Dave the same question. How good, really, has Jalen Hurts been in training camp so far? Listen to his answer.
I mean, it's very clear that he and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert and Quez Watkins has had a really good first week and a day. So, yeah, they look I think Jalen is third year in the system, knows where to go with the football, no indecisiveness, very accurate. Great guy. He's wearing the red jersey, though, Thomas, right? So don't touch him. But, yeah, he, I remember last year going into training camp, there were a lot of concerns. Oh, he had this bad day in the spring, and somebody made a big deal about it, and everybody's concerned about Jalen Hurts, and everybody's kind of holding their breath early in training camp. That's not the case at all now. He is on point and is rising. I mean, the guy's going to be 25 years old on August 7th. So he's certainly having a great camp. The offense looks outstanding. And new additions are making a difference. You see different things than we saw last year in the offense.
Gotta like that. I mean, it sounds like Jalen Hurts has been extremely impressive, and the numbers really back it up. I mean, look at this. His 2022 camp stats so far through, the same 4 practices, right? 45 of 62, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 72% completion percentage. This year, 48 of 60, 4 touchdowns, no picks, and a completion percentage that's 8 percentage points higher. Now, again, it's training camp, but dang, those are really good numbers. You absolutely love to see and hear that. I think Jalen Hurts might just be taking it a step further than where it was this past season, which is very hard to believe because he was so good last year, but keep him in the MVP conversation. Although, again, still early, you love what you're hearing and seeing coming out of Eagles camp so far with Jalen Hurts. Now, another player I was very curious about, and I asked Dave Spadaro about him, Sidney Brown. Now, Brown started out as your number 3, or at least with the 3rd team at safety, and he's moved to the number 2, at least yesterday, during their padded practices. You see Jeff Kerr saying here, saw him on the 2nd team at safety for the first time in camp on day 4, was on 3rd team prior to that. But I wanted to go ahead and ask Dave Spadaro, is there a chance he starts week 1, like truly week 1 against the Patriots? Here was Dave's thoughts on Sidney Brown.
I mean, Terrell Edmonds is experienced in the NFL. I think at this point I would lean toward Edmonds and Reed Blankenship. Blankenship in his 2nd year, extremely cerebral, athletic. I mean, doesn't make a mistake.
Right.
A way better player than anybody thinks he is. But I'll tell you, Sidney Brown is somebody that prepares well, mature beyond his years, physically gifted, has all the traits, will make a push as a starter day 1. I think that's a bit of a long shot, but certainly somebody who the Eagles will look at and prepare to start, given the long season, given the stress at that position. They are very, very, very high on him.
So Dave likes him. He doesn't not like Sidney Brown, but the question then becomes, is he ready to be a starting safety? Dave mentioned not only Terrell Edmonds, but he also later mentioned Justin Evans is having a pretty good practice so far over the first couple of days of training camp. It's Blankenship 1 for sure, but who's that number 2? I still hold fast that it will be Terrell Edmonds. Just interesting to see that they have long-term plans with Sidney Brown, but don't seem to be needing to rush him onto the football field to get him ready to be the starter week 1, which I think is the smart thing to do. You don't want to overwhelm him and have a hole where a rookie is playing. Get your veterans in in there first, and if the rookies earn the starting time, like Sidney Brown, then you can go ahead and move him over and get him in the starting position. Now, over here to Quez Watkins, who apparently is an elite receiver. Well, he said that and talking about going into year 4, quote, "I'm an elite receiver." And he actually was mentioned in my interview with Dave Spadaro, which I will drop the full thing tomorrow. He said Quez Watkins has looked absolutely fantastic and been a huge fan of how he's looked so far this season. And while I won't buy into the idea that Quez Watkins is an elite receiver yet, if he's better than what he was this past season, you're talking about 3 receivers in A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Quez Watkins who could absolutely wreak havoc on the National Football League. Defenses already have a heck of a time trying to guard A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, both of whom look better than they did this year than they did last year so far through training camp. But imagine throwing in a wide receiver 3 with the speed of Quez Watkins. Oh my goodness. I mean, that's going to be crazy. Again, is he an elite receiver? Probably not, but is he really, really good and looking good so far in training camp, much to the reports we kind of heard back during OTAs? The answer, according to Dave Spadaro, as you'll see, was 100% yes. Okay, over here to Moro Ojomo, one of the Eagles rookies we've heard nothing about. There's been one tweet so far on Ojomo that I could find, and that was one play. He almost had a sack on Ian Book, or at least would have been a sack if he was allowed to actually hit the quarterback. And of course, the Eagles pass rush once again looking very, very deep. I decided to ask Dave Spadaro again, who's at Eagle practices every single day, talk to me about Ojomo. I mean, has he flashed? Does he look like a rookie? And the answer was kind of what I expected.
Yeah, I mean, a rookie working his way up and down the defensive line, certainly not overmatched. The Eagles like him a lot. I'm going to reserve judgment until we get to the preseason.
Right.
Haven't seen him blown away anybody. I haven't seen him being blown away by anybody. It's just what you see little flashes from him, more as an interior defensive lineman. So excited to see him. I think the tell will be in the preseason.
So he's not flashing. He's not, going to be a starting defensive tackle anytime soon. He's not going to take reps from Jalen Carter or Milton Williams, but making the roster seems to be pretty darn locked up and just trying to become a better late-round draft pick, just kind of rotate in there at times for a couple of plays each game is what Ojomo's been trying to do. Again, is he, shocking people in one-on-ones? Is he dominating from a defensive tackle position? Was he the steal of the draft? So far, according to Dave, no, but he doesn't look bad. He looks like he's going to make the roster, and sometimes with those later round draft picks, it's not a guarantee, and so it's good to at least have an update on Ojomo and see that he is playing some pretty good football for a rookie. Key term there, here going into day 5 of training camp tomorrow, which of course will be a fully padded practice. Now, Zech McPherson, another player we have not heard a lot about. Where has he been kind of mixing in? He has been taking reps in the slot, according to Dave Spadaro. You see it here from Philly Eagle News on Twitter as well. And that kind of leads me to believe that Avonte Maddox might not be ready for week 1, or at least at this point might not be ready 100% for week 1. And Dave Spadaro talked about that as well.
I agree. Now, he's done a really good job on special teams in the past. And with Avonte Maddox still coming back from that toe injury, McPherson's been the one in the slot as the nickel cornerback. So done a good job there. Eagles kind of slid him very innocuously into that nickel position and is holding his own for sure against some really tough players. Look, I'll tell you, Olamide Zacchaeus is quick and explosive and dangerous in a short area. And I think Zach has done a good job battling him.
And so a couple of updates on a couple of players that we haven't heard a lot about, right? I'm trying to give you guys full coverage every single day here on what's going on at Eagles training camp. Problem is I'm not there, right? I'm here in Atlanta in my studio. And so while I do as much research as I possibly can, I wanted to speak to Dave Spadaro, who is actually at training camp, to give you his take on some of these players that, again, you want updates on, but we don't really have updates if you just follow Eagle Beat reporters on Twitter. So that full interview will drop tomorrow morning. Be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for that. But I want to give you some snippets and some clips for today. That way you can see, again, a couple of updates on guys like Ojomo, guys like Zech McPherson and Quez Watkins, and see how they've been performing so far at Eagles training camp. Really interesting stuff on Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith and Rashad Penny from Spadaro are in the interview today. You're going to want to hear that. Don't miss out. It's going to be a bunch of fun. Now, let's just check in quickly on Dallas Cowboys camp. You've probably seen this clip kind of floating around Twitter a little bit here. Trayvon Diggs told Dak Prescott to, quote, "shut your bitch blank up" today at practice. Dak then proceeded to throw the football at Diggs as he jogged back to the defensive huddle, and Ernie says, "This team is winning the damn Super Bowl," because I think he's a Cowboy guy, which is pretty funny here. Now, this is not a big deal. I mean, obviously, fights happen all the time. Travis Kelce punched somebody at Chiefs camp just a couple of days ago, so it's not like, star players don't get into fights, but that's a little disrespectful to your starting quarterback, who some people in Cowboy land think is going to be the person that leads you to victory, whereas I kind of go, not necessarily buying that overall. And so, to me, if this happened with Jalen Hurts and Darius Slay, I would make it a big deal. But I'm an Eagle, guy who covers Philadelphia, I guess you could say, not a Cowboy guy, and so I could rip this, but is it a big deal? Is it not? Give me your thoughts on this exact overall situation down below in the comments section. Okay, plenty more stuff tonight during our Wednesday Link Live, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're gonna do something really fun. Brand new software, gonna try to up our game tonight. You're not gonna wanna miss the overall look of the stream. Myself and Josh Davis working hard to be the best possible content creators out there, and I think that we're basically achieving that right now. However, we're also dropping a giveaway for the Kelly Green jerseys. We're gonna select that person tonight. You gotta be live during the stream and for the chance to go ahead and do it. Same thing with the ticket giveaway that we've been doing. A bunch of great stuff during the live show tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't be late. Plenty of updates as well. I'm Thomas Mott with all the latest Eagles training camp updates. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.